Okay. Hello, beer fans. This is an impromptu spur of the moment hangout on a Thursday afternoon during the pandemic when people have a lot more free time. So, talking about beer and drinking beer is something that's always enjoyable. And I was talking to John and Eli this afternoon about a few topics, and one that came to mind was the way that Pabst Brewery runs its operation. I've observed a lot of things over the years about beer, and it just baffles me sometimes. These companies seem to trip over themselves, and you just wonder who is in control sometimes. An instant came up recently. I like to drink Schlitz, just the Schlitz beer, but unfortunately, it's getting harder to find here in my section of North Carolina. So I said, well, okay, I'll go to the website and see if they have a beer finder. I went to the Schlitz website, and it was pathetic. You could get a kid from junior high school that could put together a website much better than that. It's laughable. A major national beer company that has lack of respect for their own brands. It was one page. It had three little banners at the top: beer, history, and social. A one-page website. And there's nothing on the social. It was just a white blank square, which is blocking a picture. And so, okay, so I'll try the beer finder. I went in there and put in my zip code. Didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I got a circle, keep circling on the screen like it was in process, but it never did anything. I said, okay. I saw the little symbols for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Okay, I'll try something up there. I went to all three of those locations. The last activity was over 3 years ago, 2017. By this point, I was less than impressed, to say the least. Not to mention that when I went to the Schlitz website, it was not secure. It said right up there beside the URL, not secure. Therefore, I put myself at risk of hijackers, losing my account. I said, well, I think that I've had enough of this. This is laughable. And after that, I went to the Pabst website, Pabst Brewing Company, and I sent them an email about product availability. Where can I get Schlitz? I haven't heard from them yet. Hopefully, I will. And if I do, I'll make a notation of that in a future hangout. But as of now, it's not going well. And on even the Pabst website, they own over 50 brands. They own, basically what they do is they own the intellectual property, the labels, the marketing, the images of these brands. Of those 50 on their website, they list 11, which means 39 of them are quote unquote hidden brands. You would think a company like Pabst would try to make it, okay, here are these beers. And as John and Ely will attest to, some of the best ones are the ones that are hidden.
Honestly, I not even some of the best ones, all of the best ones. It seems like
I was being generous.
Are the hidden brands. We were talking about this earlier. The Schlitz, original Schlitz. I can't get Schlitz here. I can get the Schlitz original malt liquor, the Blue Bull, the Red Bull. I don't even know if they make it anymore. If they do, it's very rare. The Bull Ice, which you gifted me a bottle, I thought that was the best malt liquor that I've ever had in the high gravity malt liquor range, 8.2%. Bull Ice, 40-ounce glass bottle. That was the bee's knees when it comes to malt liquor.
And this
Country Club.
Coming from someone like you who drinks a lot of craft.
I mean, the list goes on and on. And even some of the newer products that they make that are excellent, in my opinion. I've had the pleasure of trying the Pabst Blue Ribbon Extra. It's a 6.5%, kind of like an ice version of PBR. They don't call it an ice beer. It's just it's like a malt liquor. It's excellent. The hard coffee, I think Eric's tried that. Maybe not. Yes. Somebody was talking about it recently. I think you did a comparison. That's right. You did the comparison video on your channel.
Cold
the PBR hard coffee. Excellent
really
product, but you can't hardly find it. We also talked about Carling Black Label, an excellent classic brand that has a lot of roots. You know, people would buy stuff, you could find it, but we always run into the same problem with the Pabst distribution and the question or the statement that William put on the stream itself. Pabst, get your act together. And I implore you, Pabst, if anybody out there from Pabst is watching, get your act together. You make excellent products that can compete with the InBev and Miller Coors brands.
Definitely.
Your price point's lower. You make better quality products in a lot of the categories that you have with the products that you offer. So what's the deal? What's the holdup?
The Country Club malt liquor was the first nationally marketed successful malt liquor brand.
Not listed on their website.
You couldn't
hidden.
find it.
It's a hidden brand. It's one of their hidden brands.
You couldn't find it if you put the CI.
Why?
It's incredible, the incompetence. And on this website, in Pabst, their history on their own, they misspell their own CEO, Eugene Kaspar. Now that might seem like a minor thing, but he's the CEO.
CEO, that's not a minor thing. That's the CEO of Pabst.
Absolutely. They called him Eugene Kaspar rather than Eugene.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky that Pabst didn't move their heads St. Peter, Russia or something. They had to keep it here in LA where it's been for a long time. So we're even lucky that. Yeah, like you were saying with the hidden brands, Country, that ain't listed anywhere on that website. I can't find any mention of that. Although I did go to Bumpy's neck of the woods to Merrimack, New Hampshire years ago. I went on Anheuser-Busch tour, and they briefly at the end they have like showcase next to the tap room of brands, and they had a thing about, I think it was King Cole, but they didn't even like, oh, and we also make some malt liquors too. Why don't you do any advertising? And the woman running the tour couldn't even tell me why. So hopefully that's not what Pabst is doing with Club. They just don't want to acknowledge it. It's just a part of their portfolio, I guess. And that's it.
Believe me, if it was my job to write the history of Pabst Blue Ribbon, I think I would try to get his name spelled correctly, just for the sake of my own job.
Yeah.
There are things called proofreaders at these, you would think, at these websites. You know, there's some oversight. You know, it's just laughable. It's pathetic. You know,
I think what gets me too with the Pabst brand, they make a lot of quality products. It seems like the hard work and effort, you know, to make these products, that's like your number one priority, right? You make a great product, whatever, and then you should be proud of what you make and distribute it accordingly and make sure that you market it appropriately and get the word out there. But it's like they spend all the time and effort to make these great products and then they do nothing with it. It makes no sense to me. It's like paradigm, is that the right word? Or not a paradox. I don't know. I don't understand why, you know, unless there's some monetary issues, like they don't have the resources to distribute like they should. I mean, it seems like Pabst is a very well-known brand. Obviously, they've had issues in the past. They've sold out. They've merged with other companies and whatever. We know them as Pabst, but they've had issues in the past. We all know that. So what's the deal? Is it something to do with money? Is it something to do with the brand itself? Like, why can they not get their product out there to more people? Because the products that they make are excellent. They're better than your InBev and Miller and Molson Coors products most of the time.
I think
when you're talking about macro, you know, these big brand names. So what's the deal?
At that price point, they definitely compete with AB InBev.
They would be drawing in people from AB InBev, Molson Coors, because those price points, you can buy a 6-pack of Country Club if you can find it for $2.99, $3.99. You can buy a 40-ounce glass bottle of the Schlitz Bull Ice for $2, $2.50.
Like, I mean, it has some momentum. They've now really completed their divorce with Molson Coors in a legal sense, and gradually they're moving their operations to City Brewing, which has 3 large breweries, one in Memphis, Tennessee,
Yep.
one in Wisconsin, one in New York. So their capacity to brew is tremendous. Contract brewing, City Brewing makes a huge amount of beer. So by 2024, all of
2024.
the PBR brands will be brewed by City Brewing. By the year
Will that help or hinder their? I mean, is that going to be a good thing? Will the distribution increase that?
They're putting a positive spin on it. So, if you take them at their word, which I don't know if
I don't know what to take it. I mean, I don't trust them as far as I could throw them. I mean, shit.
I would ask Jesse a question. He comes more from the craft beer side of it, and being a home brewer himself. In your area, what disappoints you about the brew for the distribution, the availability, and what do you find is most positive? You come from a little different perspective. Well, we're just ranting about PBR.
Well, I mean, this goes along with the whole PBR thing, actually, because I also, in brewing, I enjoy also the history of beer, and a lot of the books that I picked up about like home brewing and stuff like that, and they have like historical stuff that's written in there. There's a brewery called Ballantine that was brought up, and I just have like a little short history on it. It says, legend has it that Ballantine was the first IPA brewed in the United States. It was certainly the first made by Pierre Ballantine and Sons Brewing Company of Newark, New Jersey, dating back to 1878. It was one of the few breweries to outlast Prohibition and continue making IPAs for decades after. And then in 1970, it was bought out by Falstaff Brewing, and then in the 80s, it was purchased by Pabst Blue Ribbon. Now they do have one thing I can find around here from Ballantine label, which is the Triple X Ale. I've never had the IPA, and the IPA is what is always talked about. And it's like, if that's such a staple in American history, it's like you would think you'd want to put that out there.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's a perfect example because I've been wanting to try Ballantine, not just just any Ballantine beer. I'll be lucky. I mean, I'd have to go to probably New York State to get it. I don't know. The distribution is so poor now.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like you said, Bumpy, it's a staple in the beer, the history of beer making and beer in the United States. So why is it such a difficult beer to acquire? And everybody, all the reviews that I've seen, particularly for the Triple X, the IPA that you're talking about, they're all like excellent, world class. I mean, they're all great reviews. So why is it so difficult to procure if it's that freaking good?
I've never.
No, I was amazed the first time I had the Triple X, which is just their hoppy ale, and knowing that it was a Pabst, item, and with it being it was a nice hoppy ale. It really was. It had the citrusy notes. Kind of, it would withstand with like Sierra Nevada's pale ale almost, in comparison as far as the quality and the hoppiness out of it. So yeah, I thought being a craft beer person, basically, it was definitely up there in the quality of what I'd be looking for out of other craft breweries. So
right.
It's laughable, the fact that they pride themselves on owning all these brands. It's such rich in history, and yet they treat them like second-class citizens. It doesn't make any sense. Ballantine has a rich beer history. Ballantine at one time was the beer of the New York Yankees. They were America's team before Dallas Cowboys were America's team. They were a baseball version of America's team. They dominated during the 50s, the era. Ballantine was the beer of the New York Yankees. And it's
right.
It's inexplicable.
Well, Schaefer's Pabst too, right? Schaefer's a Pabst.
Yes, it is now.
Schaefer Stadium was the New England. That's where the Patriots play, right?
Yeah.
And then Natty Boh, that has a lot to do with baseball. I don't know if it's affiliated with a specific baseball team, but Natty Boh was big in baseball.
Schaefer
Orioles for Baltimore.
Orioles.
Yeah, you're gonna look for Schaefer. You're gonna look for Schaefer on
beer. The one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Schaefer, you're not going to find on the Pabst Brewing Company's website. It's not there.
And when they played in Schaefer Stadium, the Patriots, they
Yep.
had a tight end named Tom Beers at the very same time. So it's
Oh yeah.
Beers catching footballs in Schaefer Stadium. It couldn't get any better than that.
Huh.
But you
Now
got
it's
like
that
old
something out of a
Milwaukee
movie.
Ice with a can design that probably goes back to the FDR administration. I mean, it's just, but it's a good. John tried. It's a good product. 5.9%. It's as good as any of the
I've had it once.
mainstream ice beers. The old Milwaukee Ice. Yeah. Very sparse.
You know, it's funny. I actually found the old Milwaukee Ice in North Georgia. We stopped at a gas station on our way back from Gatlinburg when I went last month, and I found a 6-pack of the 16-ounce cans. I bought it. So I get home, and I was going to do a review or revisit, and look at the bottom of the can. It was 2 years out of date. I should have looked, but I was so excited just to see it that I bought it. And then I got home, and I cracked one open. I drank it. And I was like, something ain't right with this. Anyway, I look at the bottom of the can, and the best by date was 2 years prior to me drinking it. The best by date, which probably means that it was closer to 3 years old. So it made me really sad. I was excited because I was like, Georgia, I've never seen this in Georgia. This was North Georgia, right there at the Tennessee border, whatever. But it was exciting. And then I realized, well, there's a reason I found it at this gas station, because they're just trying to get rid of it. Obviously, nobody, it's, 3 years old more than likely.
Yeah.
So
A beer that's going to apply for Social Security pretty soon.
yeah,
In beer here, that's about like
right. That's sad when your beer is about to file for Social Security. You have a problem.
And nobody's mentioned yet that while I was going through the Pabst Brewing Company website, until I just found out some information, I had no clue why New Holland Brewing Company's Dragon's Milk, why that's listed on their website. They do a whole bunch of distribution for some of the New Holland beers. They've linked up with why'd you dress up? They've done a whole bunch of distribution with those guys. So they're even going to craft beer, which I don't really have a problem if they're going to help doing distribution, but you have to, even if you you click on that link and you go on to the Dragon's Milk website, they don't make any note of that. They don't mention any reasoning why that's on their website, which is kind of strange.
It's
well, Robert,
they may have bought a portion of their shares, so now they're.
I think so.
Robert, you're much cooler now than you were when you were a young adult. So I would imagine that saying will have evolved. And by the way, CBP, this is what I work today, so I just haven't changed. So I don't have a date. This is my work attire.
I have that same colored shirt with the collar. I should go put it on.
Whatever makes you happy, Bumpy.
We can be matching buddies.
Matching bald brethren.
Uh-oh.
It's all right, Robert. We know we know you're the Whiskey Scout. It's okay. Okay, and then he fixed it. Oh man, but Pabst, William, we're talking about all these iconic brands, but it's not just the iconic brands, right? It's the new stuff too. We talked about this earlier. The Pabst hard coffee and the Easy, which is their light beer, and the PBR Extra, which is their malt liquor. It's 6.5%. Those are all. I've had the pleasure of trying all of them, and I think they're all excellent within the style. I'm not a big fan of the Pabst Easy because I don't really like super light beers, but it can easily compete with Michelob Ultra and what's another one? Miller Lite, Bud Light, Coors. I mean, all the big light beers. If the distribution was there, I think they would compete because it's a quality product, especially the PBR Extra. That's like right up my alley. That's a good malt liquor beer right there. The alcohol's well masked. Got a nice little hot bite on the end of it. The can is cool, a black can with that PBR blue ribbon. Yeah. That is cool stuff. So why was it only available in my town for 1 week and then I never saw it again? Like, what's the deal with that? These are new products. Yeah. This isn't. We're not talking about the iconic legacy brands. We're talking about new stuff. So why can't I get that?
Do you think that when 2024 hits around and they start really ramping up the production
That's a
at the
long
City
time.
Brewing Company, we're going to get it? We're going to find that they're able to produce, which is strange to think that way. They're going to be able to produce more and distribute to many more regions of the country.
I don't know. I don't see why they can't do it now. There's
Do it now,
nothing
right?
that indicates that they can't do it now because they make all of these brands. They have the heritage, they have the legacy and the reputation to where they should be able to do. I don't get it. So I have no faith in 2024. If City Brewing is going to be doing it, then why? If they can't do it now, why should I believe in City Brewing in 2024? I mean, City Brewing, they contract brew for a lot of companies. They used to do the not the golden lager, the Guinness beer, the American blonde. They've done a lot of really good brands. They've also done a lot of shady stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any faith in City Brewing, honestly. I hate to say it, but I have more faith in Pabst because of their name. So if they can't do it on their own, I don't believe that City Brewing is going to be able to come in and make this big prophetic difference with their brand.
Yeah, let's put it this way. I feel like their core, the stuff that's core to their market or core to them, like according to the website here, Pabst Blue Ribbon, probably Lone Star, maybe Olympia for the West Coast and Old Style for the Chicago area, maybe some Rainier. That's probably about like what they really are like. Really, they focus on is those core beers, and everything else is kind of when we get around to it. Maybe we'll think about distributing it to other places. Maybe.
The problem with Pabst is there's an old saying: the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So with that, it's hard to trust. What they'll on their website. The one thing they're really plugging now is a product. It's the Lone Star 24/7, which is a 2.1% ABV beer at 68 calories.
Oof.
For someone, with an energetic lifestyle, they want a really light beer and stuff like that. But I mean, that is a minor brand. I mean, there's a ton of videos on that brand. They shouldn't be spending a disproportionate amount of time on a 2.1% ABV light beer, which will probably be only available in Texas, if anywhere, Lone Star, when they have all that stock of valued legacy brands. I mean, look, Liz, if they would just tune into any one of these hangouts and see the people that say, I can't get this. And that's, I love that, but I can't get it. I can't get Schlitz. I can't get this. I can't get that.
The sad thing is they shouldn't have to tune into these hangouts. They should just be able to use common sense like we're all doing and realize that there's a demand for, supply and demand, like basic economics. Like why are these products unavailable to more people? And honestly, there's no excuse for it. There's really no excuse for it.
I think they have lazy, PR out there, basically. People that they're not doing their job, really researching, what people might want on the shelves and stuff like that.
But we're not great researchers of beer. I mean, we're just like logical people that put two and two together.
Yeah.
If we could do that, surely the top people, Pabst, could figure it out. Like, I mean, we're small potatoes compared to like the grand scheme of things here. Like, why can't they figure it out? That it's disturbing how messed up it is.
Obviously, if you read the comments of a lot of these forums, there are pin-up demand for these products. We're not making this stuff up.
Right.
I'm just analyzing. I'm just analyzing, absorbing the information that I have at my behest here, and just throwing it back out. I mean, this is not rocket science we're talking about here.
Right.
Perhaps you can do a lot better.
They can. They should.
You're a major company. You're not a mom and pop operation. Granted, you're more of an intellectual property holder than an actual beer company, but still, at that, you have one of the top 20 selling beers in the country in PBR, which
I think that's why it's so frustrating. Is because we know. Well, I won't speak for everybody. I know I've had a lot of their obscure brand, their hidden brands, their legacy brands. They're good, people. It's not a hoax. Not like one of those things you go on a great quest for and you find it and then you're disappointed by it. They are as advertised. They do live up to the hype. So that's what's so frustrating for me, is because I know if I could get Country Club here, if I could get the Schlitz Bull Ice, if I could get Natty Boh, I would buy every once in a while. I would buy it over some of these other brands for sure. But definitely, the Country Club, the Bull Ice, Schlitz, just regular Schlitz beer. I would buy Schlitz beer all the time. I mean, these brands, because I'm buying Budweiser, I'm buying Coors, I'm buying the big, I'm not buying light beer, but I'm buying the big brand, Miller High Life. I would much rather buy, some of these other brands, even the new stuff, the PBR Extra. I would buy PBR Extra. That would be one of my standby beers. No joke. It's 6.5%. It's a malt liquor for all intents and purposes. It's smooth, easy drinking. It's a quality product. That's one of their newer products. So there's no excuse for the distribution. It's a brand new product. Same with the coffee that Eric had recently in Bumpy. I think we've all tried it, but
I haven't tried it.
there's no excuse for it. And the frustration stems from not being able to get these, even the newer products that they put out, when we all know that they're quality and they could compete with the big brands. They could. The distribution is so poor and the marketing is nilch, and there's no logical explanation for it, and that's what's frustrating.
One of their biggest transgressions was the treatment of the Pabst Old Tankard Ale. That was an excellent beer. They got the original recipe, and they had this big press release, a big brouhaha when they rolled it out. They never rotated stock. And
it's like they made one batch and they let it sell out. They never made. It's like they made one batch and then it sat on the shelves in gas stations for years. And I bought a 6-pack of that when I was up to visit you, William, at the gas station, at one of the gas stations close by. And I remember when I did a review on it, I looked at the date and I believe it was over a year old.
That beer had craft style quality.
It had already been discontinued.
It had craft beer style quality. It had a thick, rich head. It smelled delicious. It was a quality product. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when you put a beer on the shelf and let it get old and then say, well, it didn't sell. That's your fault.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of the Dale's Pale Ale. It had a nice hoppy character. Dale's Pale Ale, for all of you people out there that may not know, Oscar Blues, one of the great, that's probably their namesake beer, the Dale's Pale Ale. One of the best pale ales that I've ever had. Oscar Blues was the first brewery to can craft beer also, by the way. So the fact that the Old Tankard came out and it was just as good, if not actually better than the Dale's Pale Ale, the Old Tankard, it was a travesty the way that there was nothing. You never heard, if you weren't in the know, if you didn't drink craft beer or drink beer in general and go out and seek this stuff out, you may never have even heard about the Old Tankard Ale. Just like you may have never heard about the Busch Signature Copper Lager, but that's a different story because that's
never got distributed in Ireland.
But I mean, it's the same. It's just it doesn't make sense.
There are a lot of these brands from the major corporations, style breweries in the United States, that they probably do some amount of this research into what sells in what regions, and that's how it gets sold in whatever region. I even remember years ago when the Signature Copper Lager Busch beer was the big thing. I remember emailing the local distributors in my area in my region of Massachusetts about that beer, and they said it's never even come into New England. So I don't know why that was. I don't know how they determine what beer goes into what region.
If they had slapped Busch Signature Copper Lager on a NASCAR race car, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. It'd be one of the top selling beers in America right now. And I do believe that. And William Kelly originated that idea about NASCAR thing. But that is truth. But I mean, it's so, we're talking about this like it's like some weird, like we don't understand, or like we know why it's not, why things are the way they are, because the marketing sucks and the distribution sucks. But we got to get why is that? We're getting back to this big Pabst they've been around for a while. So
But you want to know who has great
I
distribution?
think what baffles us and the viewers is the why. Why is it like that? And honestly, Eric, you were talking about 2024 with City Brewing.
Yeah.
I don't see it getting any better with City Brewing. City Brewing, I mean, Pabst is a big name by itself. So why in 2024? Why is City Brewing going to make it better? How are they going to make it better? Why can't it be better now?
That's the point. Yeah.
I mean, you look at
Why can't it be better now?
a couple of fairly very large. One of them's kind of still craft, I guess. But you got like Founders and Bell's out of Michigan, and within the past like 5 years, they have been like distributing all over the United States. You seem to find their stuff, lots of their products on the shelf all the time. So
yeah.
And they're a lot smaller than the Pabst Corporation. So
right. Oh, Ronnie is Ronnie in the?
He's not in the basement. I'm looking for him. He's
okay.
But I can't find him in here. So it must be a glitch or something.
What? He's not below everybody here.
No, I have the four faces here, but
Ronnie.
What did you click on, Ronnie?
Damn. Ronnie, get out all the way and then come back in and try that, because he did comment in the private chat. So you're not. Yeah,
he had to have been here at one point.
Ronnie, turn your flashlight on.
He says he's here 100%.
Well, he's in the private chat, so you can't
go down, William. If there's probably a little scroll bar on the side next to the four of us.
Okay.
Down below. Scroll down. He might be below.
There he is. I see the top of a head.
Okay. Ronnie. Looks nice in Florida.
Ronnie.
Hi, Ronnie. We'll get it to work.
Hey, Ronnie. Bye, Ronnie.
Hold tight, Ronnie.
There he is. Oh.
It's not going to. Okay. Let me see.
That's all right. This is hilarious.
If I could.
Ronnie, be cool, Ronnie.
I don't even blame William. This is this is your fault, Ronnie.
Here it is.
Hey, there he is.
All right.
Nobody touching
First
anything.
you don't succeed, try again.
I heard that before. Somewhere.
Pabst PBR.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Well, that's why he couldn't get in. He had the Pabst distribution.
Right.
That's right.
You can't complain about nothing.
So I see that nobody's working now. We have the hangouts are early.
Except for everybody.
Well, I actually worked today, but I got off work very early because I had a couple of cancellations. So
yeah, I was watching you and Ron.
Okay
What'd you do? 2 videos with him, right?
I did. Yeah, we did the MD 2020 and
MD.
what was the other one? Gosh.
It was
Corona
the
Familiar.
Corona Familiar, right?
Yeah.
Corona.
Two good products, better than Pabst.
Wow.
But see, Ronnie, you're basing that off of the very select Pabst, the very limited selection of Pabst products that you've been able to try. Have you ever had?
I never had MD.
I know, but like that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like the Country Club, which is the best malt liquor maybe that I've ever had. The ice beer the
Mad Dog too, right?
Schlitz, Ice Cool. National Bohemian, Natty Bow. I mean, these products are really good, and nobody can get them.
What's the one that you had with William up in when you visited him? Was that called Mad Dog? Something Dog?
Red Dog. That's
Red
Miller.
Dog.
That's Miller. That's another.
Okay.
But see that makes no sense either. That's Molson Coors or Miller Coors. I think they're honestly scared because it's better than Miller High Life. It's better than Miller Genuine Draft. It's better than Miller Lite. Honestly, they're worried about this brand that they've deemed as subpar or inferior to these other brands. I honestly feel like if they distributed Red Dog like they do their namesake brands, that they would sell more. Red Dog is much better, in my opinion. than the other brands that I just mentioned from Miller.
I've had a beer. One of my friends was in Pennsylvania, and he came back. He brought me was the original Schlitz.
Right. Yeah. Can't get that here either. Schlitz is another one. A great
That was
beer.
I've never had Schlitz
it
either.
was. It had a nice maltiness to it and everything. It was like much better than the Millers and Buds and everything else out there. Just had a good malty flavor.
Schlitz has that nice like grassy hop note to it. Also,
It's
almost
weird.
like a European style lager.
Yeah, like a Czech style Pilsner, almost.
Or a Czech Pilsner. Yeah, there you
There's
go.
only one store I know of that I can actually get Schlitz. That every time I go in there, I can always get a 6-pack of it. But I don't know why there's just one store in such a giant region that I live in. Only one store though. It's kind of weird how that store chose to acquire the beer and no other store did. I don't know how logic goes.
The demise of Pabst is something that they study in business schools. At one time, it was Pabst and Schlitz. Schlitz and Budweiser battled out for the number one.
Yeah, number one beer in America. It used to be Schlitz, right? Before Budweiser.
They were neck and neck. When Budweiser began to pull ahead, Schlitz decided, well, we're going to have to brew beer faster and quicker. They put an additive in their beer to speed up the fermentation process. So when the customers sometimes would pour their beer, there would be chunks of white stuff in it. It was disgusting.
The sediment. That's sediment. It's good.
Well, this did not.
That ain't that sediment you want, right?
It basically killed the company as we know it originally. They had to throw away so much beer, and by then they had fallen so far behind.
Damn.
William, is that the company that they actually lost their original recipe and they didn't know how to make it again?
Yes.
Yeah, Schlitz. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Schlitz. You had Schlitz. They screwed up their original recipe. They tried to reinvent themselves, and then they came out with the Schlitz Gusto, which was supposed to be the original recipe, like based on eyewitness accounts from all these. But they
I don't know where the recipe.
And the Schlitz Gusto. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
They got people that worked at that brewery in the 60s. I didn't mean to cut you off there. And Pat interviewed some of these people that worked at the brewery for their best guess and for their personal information, what they remember the recipe and the ingredients to be. So the Schlitz Gusto is a 1960s formula. And I believe whenever you find Schlitz, just the plain old Schlitz lager with the globe on it, that's the version that's now still available. But I don't know where the recipe is. Kind of sad, right?
That's a crazy story, considering it used to be the number one brand, and then they lost their recipe. That's insane.
But the fact that
they tried to change the recipe to improve it in the fermentation and the efficiency of making the beer, they screwed it up. People hated it, and then when they went back to try to get back to their roots, they couldn't find the original recipe.
Yeah,
and then it was
like finding green slime in the beer or something in the 70s.
It was.
I mean, I don't even understand how that's possible. Like, how do you not have a? I understand there were computers and USB drives back then, but somebody
you don't have some kind of paperwork or something.
Like, how do you not have the original? Come on, man. There were copy machines. there were cameras. Somebody could have taken a. I mean, how do you not have?
And this is a top company.
Something of that magnitude.
This is not like a little brewery.
The best-selling beer in America at the time. How do you lose? How do you lose the recipe for that?
That's crazy.
Come on. It's insane. It's insane.
It is.
Sick.
Well, I lost all of my.
It's making me
recipes.
sick.
It makes me sick.
But yeah, they took a big PR. I'd hate to be their PR director at that time to try to explain away the goo that people find in their beer. Okay, you can trust us now. It's different now.
We changed.
But you
every ex-girlfriend I've changed. I promise.
With business practices like that, they really deserve.
So why should the American public buy it either?
Right.
But the fact that John, Eric, and Jesse, you drink a lot of craft beer, so you come at this with a degree.
Hey, I do too.
I mean, you're just, about Pabst. And Jesse, you like the Ballantine.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to drink the Ballantine IPA. And another thing I can never drink that I was reading about today was Pete's Wicked Ale.
That's
They don't
long
even
gone.
make that anymore.
No, they don't make it anymore. They stopped making that.
Right.
Wicked, is that like the orange, the apple flavor?
No, it's a brown ale.
They had an original, Ronnie. You're thinking of
The
like
Wicked
red apple maybe, but they used to have just a regular Pete's Wicked Ale. And it was, yeah,
In the 90s, it was
brown
a
ale.
brand in the 90s, I believe.
Ron
they have,
Terrio talked about that a lot, and I think he had it. But yeah, it's like one of those legendary brands that was really popular, and then it wasn't, and then it died, and now all that we have to live off of are these great stories of everybody like, yeah, I
I
remember.
wonder if
back
Ron
in the
has a
day,
can or a bottle that he saved.
I think he probably does actually. I'm sure he does actually.
Well, PA Brew News says that the Ballantine IPA was horrible.
Well, whatever.
He's
I
eating
don't know.
raw meat.
The triple X was.
fall asleep.
I
really good.
disagree. I disagree with that statement.
But the point I was making was that these are just not ad hominem attacks on Pabst. They're based on stuff that's actually happened.
Yep.
Because we
Right.
want to like the beers. We want to.
Well, you do like it, you just can't get it.
That's right. So I mean, we
want to like it. We usually do. We find it. The problem is we can't ever find it again.
Only for once.
That's like that old Milwaukee Ice too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I thankfully I got a fresh can when I went to go visit William because the version that I tried a few weeks ago was terrible. I would never buy it again.
Oh, really?
That's the problem.
Why?
People finally find these brands at the obscure gas station in the middle of nowhere and they drink it and they're not checking the dates. So they're like, this is terrible. No wonder it was discontinued. Or no wonder nobody can find it. But they don't realize that the product that they're buying is 2, 3, maybe
what was
more
the date on yours?
years old. But Old Milwaukee Ice, fresh at William Kepley's house. Check out George Beer Reviews for that.
I had it. I had it when I was
It was awesome.
when I was in North Carolina. I had it a couple of times.
About 3 feet from where I'm sitting right now.
We had it right there. Yeah, right there.
It was good.
I even did like a sneak. I was like, ooh, sneak peek on OM Ice. I think Old Milwaukee Ice was like a 9. It was in the A range, but it was at least a solid A. And I would stick to that if it's fresh. The problem is nobody can get it fresh except maybe in Pennsylvania.
You got to be in North Carolina.
Three other states. I don't even know about North Carolina because William didn't get it in North Carolina.
I did. I got it in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I was in southern North Carolina.
Except
you did.
Red
Yeah.
Dog.
Oh, red. Okay, because I know William get a lot of the stuff from Pennsylvania.
Another we hadn't mentioned is the Colt 45 double malt liquor.
Never seen
That was
it.
good.
That's pretty.
That was also good, but I will say this. Of the beers that I got to try, I saved the bottle. I love the Colt 45 double malt, but it's so similar to the regular Colt 45. Like, it's not like a huge thing if you can't get the double malt. Because if you drink the regular Colt 45, it's very similar. Same ABV, same nutritional specs. It makes one wonder
What's the
if
ABV?
it's the same beer. Where it's not, it's double hopped or it's double malted, right? But I've had both, and they taste the same. Very similar. Very similar.
It's just, I think human nature is such, and I'll admit that myself. If you find something that's hard to get, you're going to likely enjoy it a little bit more.
Yes, of course, I enjoyed it more because I was very excited to try. I enjoyed it more at the time, but looking back, now that I have the proper perspective, I think on things. If I had done a side by side, I don't think I would have been able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
Just like Corona Extra, Corona Familiar, those are actually different recipes, but I couldn't tell them apart when I did a blind taste challenge. I actually thought the Corona Extra was better, and I gave it the victory. But in my normal light, like I would always go for the Corona Familiar because it's 4.8 versus 4.6 and 20 IBUs versus 18 IBUs. So everything to me says Corona Familiar is a winner. But when you do these blind taste challenges and you really get into it and you don't have that brand looking in the face, that's when stuff gets real. And
real.
And Ron Terry, I will give him props on this. He's probably not watching now. He's probably asleep.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good at the taste challenges.
But he does it right with the people give him a hard time. But that's really the only way. Like I could sit here all day until I'm blue in the face and say this is better than that. But until you actually do a blind taste challenge, you have no idea. You really don't. Because marketing and product placement and all of that, it really affects how you perceive something.
Definitely.
Even if you've never had it, it really messes.
You got all the marketing and you got all the marketing and the commercials during the Super Bowl and just like in average situations on television and stuff that show. I don't know if they're necessarily talking about the exact beer itself, but they're always putting Bud Light commercials on TV. Like that's America's favorite beer. Just accept it. That's the beer to drink when you're drinking beer. That used to be Schaefer, right, or Schlitz, right? But
it used to be Schlitz, yeah.
Yeah, but is that saying that is that marketing trying to say that they're the best beer, flavor wise? No, not really. They're just trying to get you in a different direction to go and try to buy their beer. So sometimes
isn't Hams kind of along this line too, William? The beer Hams, kind of like a Schlitz.
They're a Molson Coors product, but yet they are one of the most highly. I mean, about 3 years ago, they did in Chicago Times. They have an alcohol beer reporter. They compared Hams with a bunch of other adjunct lagers with craft brewers doing the judging. They were from Goose Island and some of the local. They said Hams was the best American adjunct lager. They rated it number 1.
Wow.
People who wouldn't normally drink that beer. So I thought that was very high. And I've always liked the Hams myself. And
you ever had Hams, Bumpy?
Yeah, I was picking Hams up quite a bit, and then all of a sudden they pulled it out of the market.
Yeah.
Well, so you liked it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had it. Yeah, I just find that beer too. Some stores in my area will have it, and sometimes I got to drive 25, 30 minutes just to get it. I'm not going to drive that far away for a discounted product beer on the market. No, not really.
Now, John, I'm curious, John, what the date was on the old Milwaukee that you got.
Me?
Yeah.
So the old Milwaukee Ice I got in North Georgia on my way back from Gatlinburg. I can't remember specifically what town it was, but the Best By date was like February of 2018. The Best By date.
Okay.
So it was at least, it was probably 3 years old.
Did they have a lot of them there? Was it like a good amount? Where'd you go to a gas station?
They only had 2 6-packs of the 16-ounce cans, and I bought one. And I should have looked at the date at the time, but I'm with my friends. We're driving back home. Like I'm just excited to see it. Picked it up. I didn't think about it.
The ones I was getting, they were 24 ounces, 24-ounce cans.
16. It was a 6-pack of 16-ounce cans.
Yeah, I was just getting single 24 ounces, and there was a bunch of them. The gas station I was going to was across the street from the hotel, and they were fresh. That was a good beer.
Here's the thing too. People say that for macros, it doesn't necessarily matter on the date so much, but I will tell you this: I tried an OM Ice fresh because William Kepley gifted me a can of it, and I tried it. We did a review on my channel. I thought it was excellent. I tried that beer. I bought it. I drank it. I actually cracked it open in the truck. We're driving back. I drank it in the truck right out of the can. I'm like, I'm so excited to try it. And I was like, oh, what is going on? And then that's when I looked at the date and I realized it was that old. So it was not as it was. People think that these macro beers will last.
Forever.
Some of them will last a little while, but when you get to 2+ years, come on. I mean, you're getting an inferior product, and it's not right. It's not right for the gas stations, the convenience stores, the grocery stores, whatever. If they have that product on the shelf, it's not right. They should check that. But it's not right for you as an individual to judge the beer based on that. So I didn't even I was going to do a revisit review. I was so excited to put that on my channel, but it was so bad.
Did you end up having the rest
that
of
I
them?
didn't feel like it would be doing a disservice to the product to post that review, because that's obviously not the experience I had when I tried it fresh. So I just didn't even post it.
What'd you do with the rest of the beers?
Good question.
He chugged them.
I drank them. I drank them.
Yeah, he did.
But
You chug them all in the same truck?
You know, I joined like a CBP third. I basically chugged them to get rid of them.
Oof. Ouch.
Thanks for calling me out, Ronnie.
Is that when your Australian accent came out, John?
You know, I'm not gonna waste it. So yeah, I chugged them.
Does
cool.
anybody know about Narragansett? Are they their own company?
I've had Narragansett. Yeah, they're in New York, upstate New York.
They have some ownership from the people that own the Genesee Brewing Company. So forget who exactly that is, but that's who produces their mainstay stuff, like their light beer, their lager beer. Sometimes
it's all right. It's not like anything outstanding. It was all right.
It's 5%, which is about the cap on the adjunct lagers at 5%. I think it's pretty good. We can get it here to Total Wine. We get quite a few of the Narragansett products, actually.
Yeah, we get a couple of Narragansett. Mostly it's the lager that's out there. Every now and then we'll have like the Autocrat coffee stout. But I didn't know that they had like a whole line of crafty beers. I was in Vermont a few years back. And in one of the craft beer stores, they had all this Narragansett and Narragansett Pale Ale, IPA, different porters and stuff. And it was like, I thought these people just made lagers. What's that?
I never knew that they had different types of beers. I just thought it was the one lager.
7.5% black lager Schwartz beer. I had a couple years ago. I thought it was really good. And they're sort of like the Stevens Point Brewing in Wisconsin. They make some more macro type products, but they can also make some craft stuff, and they do a lot of contract brewing too. So they sort of
right. Whiskey South says he would send me some 4 or 5 year old buds if I would chug them. I don't know. You know what? If you want to, that's not too bad. They're not going to be fresh. They're not going to taste delicious, but who am I to turn down?
The question is, why did you have them for 4 or 5 years?
I accept your offer.
They must be collectible cans.
Is he barrel aging them or something?
Probably. It's from that pack. I know Whiskey Scout got like this wooden box, and he got all these cool Budweiser collective. Yeah, but he hasn't had any. He hasn't drank any of them because
to ship is going to cost more than what they're worth.
Do they do they go down in value if you open the can?
I think what he's got is actually bottles. But I wouldn't worry about it. For 5 years, that ain't nothing. Now, if it was 20, 30 years, the beer probably tastes like vinegar at that point. Woo. But we're not dealing with that. But William, I'm sorry, we've been talking a lot about Pabst and kind of getting off. I want to make sure that you, because we've been going on an hour here, you did mention you wanted to talk about this special tournament that's coming up on your channel.
Yeah, we'll move over into the second stage of it here. This is something that's been swimming in my twisted brain for quite some time. But the idea of doing some beer tournaments. I mean, especially now, the timing is perfect. There was no NCAA basketball tournament. There's a dearth of
no March Madness,
entertainment options.
You can watch the NASCAR doing video game racing.
Oh boy!
Have you guys seen that? That's ridiculous.
E-gaming, God, they have it for everything. NBA, NASCAR.
Do they still have to wear their helmets when they do that?
No, they have like suits on. They're wearing ties.
Fire suits.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, William was trying to make a point here.
But the basic
Continue.
concept is to pit 4 beers against each other in 2 semifinals. You could pick maybe 4 of your favorites or maybe the top 4 selling beers. Right now, here's a potential you could have as a first round matchup would be Budweiser versus Coors and maybe PBR versus Pabst. Those 2 winners would then meet for a final championship round. And if things go well, possibly you could pit that against a wild card, the champion. Maybe you could bring in a Hams or something and let them challenge the winner of the tournament.
I like this.
Extended to light beer, craft beer. You could have a American Pale Ale Final Four. Sierra Nevada would
that's true.
Seed.
But for the purposes of the of having the large group of people involved and everything, the fact that you're talking about mostly macro beers that everybody can get, it would involve more people. So we could all we all would have a vote. And then the people out there in YouTube land watching would have a vote as well, which might determine the wild card.
That's you, Whiskey Scout.
In the
here's the scenario.
Match.
Say in the first round, how many panelists were here, it ended in a tie. Then everyone who made a live comment, as they're commenting, we would ask them to pick their favorite.
Ooh.
And at the end of the show, we would tally up these scores in live real time. And that would be say it was 2-2 Schlitz Pabst versus
Miller.
Miller.
Highlight?
Then, yeah, I was trying to bracket together in my mind. And that would determine, so if they voted for Pabst, they would move on to the finals or vice versa.
So we'd all have to have these beers in front of us to drink to actually determine which one we like more, each person. So so it couldn't be like Schlitz or whatever, because
it would have to be determined beforehand as a bracket, like Budweiser versus Coors, maybe PBR versus Miller High Life.
Ooh, whoa!
That could be determined off, about which ones would set up. And like I say, this could extend to a light beer category. IPAs would be a great one because there are many of those that are accessible to people.
Commercially available ones.
Sellers, maybe the top 4 most popular IPAs in the country. Pit those together, 1 versus 4.
Oh, John and Millie.
3.
Yeah.
Final round. And the fact that the commenters live chat would have some input, I think would be very interesting. They would feel like they
very interactive. It'd be very cool. And with everything going on right now with this freaking coronavirus stuff, it would be like it makes it that much more relevant. Like you think of like a tournament, March Madness, and this stuff. We never had March Madness. We never had basketball. Like so, it makes it that much more cool. I think now more than
I like
ever.
it. When can we start this?
And I like and Craig, good luck to you starting from the beginning. I hope you drink a few beers so you can tolerate the entirety of the hour-long live stream.
It's mostly just John ranting.
I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not. Am I? Is it me?
He's got his act together, people.
So
Ronnie,
I'm sure the
am I right?
I'm sure the commenters will probably hope there is a tie, so that they'll be able to make the final decision. And it might be tight because these things they are awfully similar in taste profile, so it definitely could end in a tie. And if it happens to do, then the commenter.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I was going to say if we have 6 people and those are the only 6 that were able to get onto the panel, and then there are people in the basement, maybe they could be the tiebreaker. But I think those people in the basement should be able to come up and still give their vote too before we go to the panel, maybe.
Yeah.
If it becomes a big thing. I like that idea. That's pretty cool.
Can we start this tonight?
We'll have to stew that. I don't have adjunct lager to choose.
Details to be announced. Details forthcoming.
Would ice beers ever go against a regular old adjunct lager, or are they their own? They got to be their own separate.
Ice beers have to be their own category.
Their own thing.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, just like we'd have to have like light. It'd have to be like light American adjunct lagers. for
You need
light
your beer.
American.
Yeah, and then a
lager.
specific type of IPA.
Yeah.
Because a regular Pabst
Definitely
over
you guys
Pabst
are
Easy,
getting
the regular
involved in
Pabst is going to definitely
Oh,
have a
yeah.
little bit more
You're gonna
flavor.
do an Eisbach tournament?
You can serve
Yeah, right.
ice beer, or malt liquor, ice bock, anything. Just use
Anything.
imagination.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
There's only 2 ice box out in the world to choose from.
That would be the championship ground.
I feel like the immediate championship. Yeah.
Records don't matter.
Good luck if you can find both of the. If you live in an area where you can find both of those ice boxes, well, God, you are truly blessed.
You
Ice
gotta
box
do the seltzer
championship
water
world.
challenge. Oh no, seltzer water bracket.
But I just wanted to throw that out there, and we'll probably get some input maybe
I like it.
from that, and like I just wanted the Pabst. To me, that was just baffling. The fact that some of the stuff they do, and so like I said, just a little throw together this afternoon. And I thank each of you for joining me here this afternoon.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
William.
Thank you for
Ronnie
having
from
me.
Georgia, Eric from Massachusetts, Ronnie from Florida, and Jesse from the state of New Hampshire. And
Yeah.
glad you
Live free or die.
He's damn straight.
Drink beer or die.
Right.
That's an
That's
order.
right.
I bet you New Hampshire's not quarantined.
But
And if you're on a budget, why not go for some MD 2020?
Right.
Hey,
How much does it
or
cost?
some Johnny Bootlegger. Do it.
Is that your brand, John?
It is tonight, and
Johnny
I like
Bootlegger.
it. It makes me.
Wow.
What does that cost, John?
The one I got is MD 2020. This is Mogen David 2020 or Mad Dog 2020, as most folks call it. This is the Orange Jubilee. It's 13% alcohol. It's a grape wine with natural orange flavors and artificial colors. It is
What
delightful.
was the price tag on that, bad Larry?
It was cheap as dirt. I don't even think I paid for it. I think they just gave it to me, actually.
They threw pennies at him as he was running out the door.
I went and I said, "Here, I'd like to get this," and they said, "No, sir. You please take
What,
out the take it."
What
take
grade
it."
did you give it?
I was like, "All right, I will," and I did.
What grade did you give it?
God, I don't know. You have to watch Ron's.
don't
I think I
remember?
gave it a not. I think I gave it an A. I don't know. It was good. It was delicious for what an A minus, like a 91, 92, somewhere there.
If you were rating it on the Taco Bell scale, what would it be?
It would be.
Diablo.
It would be a fire. A fire.
That would be a 4. So I do have a packet. I always keep a packet here by the table.
That's that is a fire. Yeah.
I think that's the best rating on YouTube. The Taco Bell rating.
It will
I
be
like
the
that.
restaurant.
I like
The
that.
restaurant
Too
got
bad, I
closed
wish
down
they
because of
still made-
cockroaches.
The Chipotle and the Verde. I don't know why Taco Bell discontinued. Those were awesome.
Oh, they don't have the green one anymore?
No.
The
I'm
green
not
one was
not
just-
here. They don't.
The green one was discontinued, so I had to substitute for my number 1, the Arby's Horsey.
Oh, nice. But they had a Chipotle one as well.
Yeah.
At Taco Bell.
Yeah,
They had
never
the
saw that one.
Chipotle. They had the Chipotle and the Verde, and both of them disappeared about the same time. I liked them both. I thought they were good.
It disappeared.
And then they have the Diablo now, which replaced the original Fire Alarm, I believe is it was called. But they had the Fire, and then they have the Diablo, which is the black packet. But
Wasn't there
The
one that's like a
Diablo's
deep?
really
It's
not-
like a deep purple color.
no, the Diablo's black. It's
Here's
black.
I have the Diablo.
I think
right
it is
here.
like purplish. Yeah.
black as night.
It's black and red.
Right.
It
There
looks
you
kind of
go.
purple.
That's
Yeah.
the Diablo.
It's been a while since
Ain't
I've
nothing
been to
purple
Taco Bell.
about it.
This
Bumpy.
would be like Hetty Topper,
Oh, damn.
but
Oh, and they got the mild sauce too. Don't forget about that. That's the orange one. there.
Nobody uses that one. It's just like a waste.
Yellow.
Mild sauce
There
is
you
reserved for Tecate Platinum, but I know William really liked it, so I can't say that. Oh,
Tecate Platinum. Nobody, even
Titanium,
William didn't like. What do you mean?
titanium.
Titanium? Yeah,
that's what I meant. Oh,
Did
Tecate
you- William, did you like the Tecate
I thought it
Titanium?
was pretty good, actually. Maybe I was grading malt liquor on the curve, but I actually thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, Ron was giving him shit about it.
Just a little bit.
It's like
I love William.
You got to call him like you see
Hey,
him.
you gotta go. I appreciate that. I drank it. I thought it was
Really.
Really? I've never even seen that one.
I couldn't drink. I dumped the. I think I reviewed it. I bought it. I bought it up there. That's when I saw it up in North Carolina. We bought it at that gas station. That random gas station. I think I gave it a 65. I think I gave it. It wasn't a total drain pour, but it was bad enough to never want to drink again.
That was another one of the places where the owner knew me. The owner knew me when I went up there to the counter. You bought 4 cans, as I recall, and gave me 2 of them.
Oh, whoa.
Maybe.
And I bought it a few
we'll
times.
Go with that.
But it has recently been discontinued here, so I won't be getting any more of it.
Damn.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Too bad.
last night I hadn't eaten any dinner or supper, so it was sustenance. You drink a 24-ounce can of a 7.5% malt liquor. It's liquid bread. It was sustenance.
Pretty much.
And for that time and circumstance, I enjoyed it. Maybe some other time, maybe not so much. But I like it.
You know what? I wish I enjoyed. I'm not hating on that. I appreciate your perspective on it. Yeah, I remember it being cloyingly sweet, and it had like a chalky finish. It had a chalky finish to it, and it was a big turnoff for me. Yeah. Plus, the alcohol I thought was not masked at all. It tasted like I was doing a beer shot. That's what it tasted like.
Damn.
To me, I mean, and that was at the time that I had it. It may have improved before they
discontinued. It's kind of strange that Tecate would have gone in that direction.
Maybe I ate some chimichurris that night, and I was like, ooh, I had a.
Part of their marketing. Part of the marketing
affected what I was drinking.
I'm trying to remember. They think that there was a
clean palate.
They thought that there was like not enough of those kind of beers in the market, so they put one out on the market. I'm like, really? You think there's not that many of these on the market? Really?
Compared to Steel Reserve, the 8%, which one's better?
Steel Reserve. To me, I would take Steel Reserve. I
can't stomach Steel Reserve, so I guess I wouldn't be able to stomach that.
Steel Reserve makes 2.
I don't think so.
They make a silver.
If you don't like Steel Reserve, I don't see how you could drink the titanium.
I would agree with that.
That's just me. This is my opinion.
In the high gravity category, Steel Reserve makes 2. Some think it's the identical product. It's 8.1%. They make a silver can, then they make a black can of the 211 triple export, which has a big 211 on the can. I've got a can of it here now. I've never drank 2 side by side. Some people say it's the same product, just distributed in different parts of the country.
I'm one of those. I can get both. I've had the 6% 211. I've had the 8.1 silver can, and I've had the 8.1 triple export, and I think they taste exactly the same.
Really?
I truly do. I have not done like a blind taste challenge side by side, but I've had them both so many times, and neither one of them is exceptional. I'd give them both like an 85. I give them both Steel Reserve 8.1 and the Steel Reserve 8.1 triple export. They're both mid, like 84 out of 100. I can't tell the difference. I was expecting more of a hop presence with the 8.1 triple export, maybe a little bit more malty, like unexplained malty excitement, but no, same thing. For me, I couldn't tell the difference. I think it's more of a gimmick, and if you look at the nutritional specs, they're exactly the same.
Oh yeah, let's read the chat. The Whiskey Scout says he has an idea. We need a live stream where we each go to the local gas station and get the worst can that you can stand to drink, and we all review it.
I'll do that.
God,
I'm down.
I would totally do that. I've already done that.
John did that today already.
I've already done it.
So, John, did you go pick that up because Ron said he was going to be reviewing it?
Because Ron said he had some Peaches and Cream MD 2020, and I said I'll try to find it. I couldn't find that one, but I found the Orange Jubilee. Honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not. I'd rather be drinking craft beer right now, but it's not.
Does it taste like wine? It's supposed to be a wine, right?
No, it doesn't taste like wine. It tastes like a like an orange drink with alcohol. It's an orange,
like a spiked orange drink.
No, the alcohol
Like
at 13% is masked exceptionally well. It tastes like an orange drink that you would get in elementary school. You go through the line, get your lunch straight, like an orange aid.
The high C.
Like that. It tastes like that with like some musty type grape action going on. But the alcohol is masked very well though.
Here's a glowing review from the Whiskey Scout. Steel Reserve is only a half canner. Never made it through a full can without the gag reflux engagement.
Oh, wow.
So
I don't remember. I've had Steel Reserve, but it's been a long time. I'd have to revisit Steel Reserve. And then there's two of them, right? There's the 211, and then there's one that's 8%. One is 6.1 or something.
Three. Yeah. There's the original 6%. There's the silver can 8.1, and then there's the Steel Reserve Triple Export, which is also 8.1, which I believe is exactly the same as the regular 8.1, based on my tastings.
The Steel Reserve 6% and the 8.1 depends on what part of the country you live in, because some of the country only gets 6% and some of the country only gets the 8.1. I don't know why that is.
It might be considered an ale in Texas.
Yeah. Just skirt weird laws.
Everything just for safety, for continuity of this everything is considered an ale in Texas.
Right.
Even Bud Light.
But everything.
Even that MD.
I don't know.
Ale in Texas.
That MD is an ale.
I didn't realize this was going to go over an hour. I poured the last. So any behavior from now on, I'm just going to blame it on the MD 2020.
MD 2020 is an ale in Texas.
That's right.
That's the rest of that.
Yeah. Sometime we have to do a hangout. What's ailing you? Just bring any ale and then complain about how your day went.
Yeah.
We can do that every day. We can do that every freaking day.
I'll have this evening, but we done this instead. But I'll have to keep up in the.
That would be a good one to do. I like that.
What's
ailing? You know what would be hard if you're not allowed to say anything about coronavirus.
And also some the possibilities. The 6% club. Bring a beer in the 6% ABV range.
I like it.
The 7% club, 5, and then just sort of have a different. That would give you some latitude, like 6 to 6.9%, 7 to 7.9. That makes some interesting. You have beers with the similar ABV, but could be completely different styles. So compare those.
Right. Yeah. William's got some great ideas. I hope you keep them coming.
William
while John Neely still has his mental capacities.
No, they're gone. Believe me, they're gone.
Before the MD 2020 takes over, I'm trying to save you from yourself.
It's okay. No, William. No, I agree. Everything you're saying with the Madness tournament, the beer tournament with the I love that. The 6% club, everything. William has had great ideas for years. This is not new, people. You may be new to YouTube with this channel and everything, but a lot of the stuff that you've seen on my channel over the years, Jay's channel, it's all stemmed from William Kepley. He is a great mind when it comes to this type of stuff. So can we
use Alex's word appropriately and call him a legend?
Legendary William. He said that.
I would not hesitate to call. The legendary William Kepley. As a matter of fact, I think I have called him legendary William Kepley on previous streams. He is the legendary William Kepley, and I'm just glad that he is able to do this now. He's been through a lot. He may not admit it himself, but I'll tell you, he's been through quite a battle with his health, and he's overcome it. And he's just a great guy in general. And the fact that he's back at it, he's been able to create his own channel, and he's got all these great ideas for streams.
Oh, yeah.
Not just talking about beer, like tonight, talking about we're talking about a company. We're talking about people that make the beer that we drink. We got the March Madness thing coming up. We've got the 6%. I mean, the sky's the limit. And
this is
William
great.
Kepley is.
I think I'm
a
William Keplin's
person,
first
and
subscriber.
I fully support anything and everything that he does, and I will continue. I will try to help him on my channel promoting the stuff that he does because he's new to this. But in no time, he will surpass all of us with his views and his creativity and all of that. He knows his stuff, and I'm glad to have you back, William. And I will shut up now because.
And guess who his first YouTube subscriber was?
Right, Ronnie was. And thank you for the kind words. And like I say, one of the highlights of my 2019 was when you visited me from Georgia, and we hung out, drank beers in the kitchen Friday night, then went to the brewery on Saturday afternoon for the tour, and able to see you try these brands you never had before. And I had a lot of down moments in 2019, but that was definitely one of the highlights. And doing this stuff with you has lifted my morale, has kept me upbeat. And, I've got some legendary friends I think I've discovered on social media. I'm a little old, and I never, I wasn't into social media for a long time. But I've enjoyed it. I think there's a lot more good things about it than negative.
I agree. I love, I'm not big on Facebook and Instagram and MySpace and Twitter and all that, but YouTube, maybe not MySpace. Anyway,
MySpace is still
my
around.
point is,
Believe it or not.
we're living in these trying times, right? Everything, we're stay at home, do this, do that, but we have the great tool of internet, social media, all that. We can continue to hang out and do all this fun stuff. So not that we're doing it because of that. I mean, we would be doing it anyway, but people out there that might be watching, I mean, just deal with it. You're fine. You live, in a world where you're pampered and everything is given to you. So just shut up and deal with the problem.
And if you run out of toilet paper, just use the other side.
Just hop in the shower. If you've got running water, you can deal with that.
I saw a sign in town in one of the stores that said, "Police toilet seat stolen. Cops have nothing to go on."
Jesus.
Yeah, right.
It's in front of a bakery. Closed. But it's the irony of it is now people are connecting through Facebook and these streams and stuff. This is actually what people used to do, was talk to each other before we had smartphones and private devices where everybody sort of into themselves.
Imagine what that must have been like.
Really old fashioned. When I was youngster, on Sunday after going to church, everybody would overeat Sunday dinner. Then they would go sit on the porch and just talk. How was your week? They would sit out and talk. That's how they entertain themselves, with conversation. And that's really what this is. So in a sense, it's old fashioned.
It is old fashioned. I love that we can do this now. It's truly a blessing. I think, thank my lucky stars that we're able to do this. But most importantly, thanks to William Kepley. We're still live. So thanks to William Kepley for hosting this. A lot of great things to come on William Kepley's channel. I will post some stuff on my channel to kind of promote this because he's still new. I'm sure Bumpy and Thomas, Mel and Eric and Ryan doesn't really have a channel. We're all in this together. But yeah, there's a lot of great things to come. I'm really excited about the beer tournament.
We should try that.
That's gonna be awesome. That's a great idea, and that is straight from the mind of William Kepley. That had nothing to do with me. William was kind enough to let me. He was like, "Yeah, you should do it on your channel." But now he's got a channel, so I'm going to promote the hell out of it on my channel. We're going to get a big turnout, and this is going to be super cool.
You got to get Ryan on this too.
I like this. I like starting with, and the sky's the limit. We start with the big brands. We could even, if you even want to break it down into light beers, then go to your regular macros, and then do crafts. And you can even break it down to style by style, depending on how far you want to go with this. But the fact that we don't have college basketball this year, we don't have an NCAA March Madness tournament, a Final Four,
we don't
a championship.
Have baseball.
We don't have that.
No,
we crave this right now.
You got people watching people playing video games on TV now.
I am looking forward to buying. And the fact is, we're talking about beers that most people should be able to get. It's not going to be like the super specific thing, like we're talking, but do the macros. We can even go craft and do Sierra Nevada, Samuel Adams and go that route. Most people are still going to be.
I think we could find a few things that everybody can get.
I think it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to shut up now for real. I'm going to mute myself. I know I've been blabbing on, but William Kepley has got a good thing going, and I hope he keeps it up. And all right, mute time.
Like I said, drunken one. I appreciate the President 2020, but as I've announced today, I have other commitments to beer tournaments, so I will not be able to run for president. But
wow.
Thank you for that.
Oh man,
thank you for the
he will not seek and he will not accept the nomination.
There you go. I'm gonna write.
Save the country, so I'll have to. But
sorry, drunken one.
I think that's all the chats here. So we'll wrap this up now. I want to thank the panelists for joining me. I enjoyed this, and just hold pat, be patient, and we'll get around to some of these ideas. And I think it's be something you enjoy. And Johnny, my channel is called "What's the ABV?" ? And I also started last week a Facebook group, Rock Till You Bach. If you like a mashup of classic rock music and beer, alcohol, beer and spirits related content, you might want to check it out.
The best rock and roll group on Facebook.
Thanks a lot. We try to keep it rock and roll and only rock and roll, and the beer content. I've had some photos on there. Other day I put a photo to promote John's Stout Sunday. It was 2 members of Metallica, James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett. They both had stout beer mustaches. They were drinking Guinness Stout. And I put a little caption with it. Are we welcome for Stout Sunday? Can we join?
Yep.
So
they can join. Hell.
If you check in each day, there'll be a new picture or 2 posted. I posted one today. 2015 Budweiser and Metallica collaborated on a beer Budweiser only sold in Canada. The cans, Budweiser cans had the Metallica emblem on there and Metallica name. I wasn't aware of that. It was in 2015. Most of it was in the Quebec area, but that was a limited edition. And I've got some more pictures coming up. And so if you might want to check out that. But anyway, we'll wrap this up now. Once again, thank the panelists. And the final word is bottoms up and don't spill a drop. See you next time.
Oh.
Cheers. Thanks for having us on, Willie.
You're welcome.
Cheers.